After that, we ring it using a cloth, and you can start to see the gold. The silver color there is mercury, and when we heat the gold up, the mercury evaporates and it turns yellow.
It began with gold and ownership. For centuries, Africa's wealth has been a story told by others, of extraction enriching distant nations while leaving its people behind. This old story is starting to crumble. Africa is waking up. This isn't about charity. It is about control and rewriting the economic rules. What if the profits from our minerals built our schools, our hospitals, and our futures? This shift is about dignity and the right to benefit from their own land. This is not a story of what could be, but of what is happening right now. In the Sengerema district of Tanzania lies Nyanzaga, a region known for its rolling hills and Lake Victoria. Beneath its surface, a significant gold deposit waited. After 17 years without a major gold mine, Nyanzaga's discovery promised to inject new life into Tanzania's economy. This time, the Tanzanian government aimed to forge its own path, creating a model for the future of resource management. More than just excavation, the Nyanzaga Gold Mine represents Tanzania digging for its economic freedom, a bold move watched closely across the continent. It's the beginning of a revolution, reclaiming what belongs to the continent and sparking a new era of African self-determination. For nearly 2 decades, Tanzania's gold mining sector felt stagnant. 17 years passed without a new large-scale gold mine opening, creating the perception that the boom was over. But beneath the ground in the Sengerema district, the Nyanzaga deposit, known to geologists for years, waited. The project lay dormant, a sleeping giant waiting to be awakened. This inactivity makes the story of Nyanzaga even more powerful, driven by a shift in national will. The Tanzanian government, under President Samia Suluhu Hassan, saw Nyanzaga as a national opportunity. The awakening of the Nyanzaga project was the awakening of a new Tanzanian spirit. Bringing the Nyanzaga mine to life cost a staggering $523 million. Conventionally, a project of this scale required foreign investment and meant signing away ownership. But Tanzania chose to defy convention. Instead, the nation made a groundbreaking decision. It would co-finance the project itself. Through a joint venture, the Tanzanian government secured a significant ownership stake. This strategy turned the old model on its head. Tanzania was putting its own money on the line, becoming a primary investor in its own future. It was a calculated risk, a massive bet on its own capabilities. The government recognized that true benefit comes not just from royalties and taxes, but from ownership. Ownership means a share of the profits and a voice in operational decisions. By taking on the financial risk, Tanzania was also claiming the right to these rewards. The world watched with a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. For the Tanzanian government, it was a strategic, necessary step towards economic sovereignty. They were investing in a new paradigm. It was a down payment on a future where Africans are the primary architects and beneficiaries of its prosperity. The risk was immense, but the potential reward, economic independence, was priceless. The Nyanzaga Gold Mine is a powerful symbol of a new era for the people of the Sengerema district and across Tanzania. It represents hope, jobs, and long-term careers. The mine will need a huge network of local suppliers, boosting local economic development. This project is a testament to a new national confidence. Tanzania is sending a clear message to the world. We are capable. The Nyanzaga mine becomes a benchmark for future resource projects and a source of national pride. It's about forging a new identity as a nation in control of its own destiny. It's a beacon of hope for other nations across the continent. What sets the Nyanzaga project apart is the structure of the deal. The Nyanzaga deal tears up the old playbook, where foreign corporations took majority stakes and full control, leaving the host nation with royalties and taxes. Through its joint venture, the Tanzanian government has secured a significant 16% free carried interest stake in the project from the outset. It's a seat at the main table, not just a chair in the waiting room. This ownership stake is a real game changer. With the Nyanzaga model, Tanzania has stepped onto the field, ready to compete for its own future. This move toward meaningful ownership is what we call a sovereignty stake. It's a model where the nation's mineral wealth is finally harnessed to build national wealth. Another critical difference in the Nyanzaga story is the approach to financing. Historically, when African nations tried to participate more actively in their resource sectors, they often fell into a different kind of trapped sovereign debt. To fund their share of a project, governments would take on massive loans from international financial institutions or foreign powers. These loans came with strings attached, high interest rates, strict repayment schedules, and policy conditions that could honestly undermine the very sovereignty they were hoping to achieve. The nation would end up trading dependency on corporations for dependency on creditors, shackling future generations to a mountain of debt before the first ounce of gold was even produced. Tanzania, however, has charted a different course. By leveraging its own resources and partnering strategically, it has minimized its reliance on the kind of predatory debt that has crippled so many developing economies. A significant portion of the financing is structured through a combination of the project partner's equity and carefully negotiated debt facilities that don't place an undue burden on the national treasury. The financing model is designed to be repaid from the mine's future revenues, not from the state's coffers. This ensures that the project pays for itself, rather than becoming a drain on public funds needed for schools, healthcare, and other essential services. This financial strategy is, honestly, a profound act of foresight. It protects Tanzania's economic freedom and ensures that the future profits from Nyanzaga won't be immediately swallowed up by interest payments to foreign lenders. It breaks the cycle where a nation's resource wealth is mortgaged away before it's even realized. This is economic self-defense. By avoiding the debt trap, Tanzania retains control over its policy decisions and its budget. It can invest the eventual profits according to its own priorities, not according to the demands of its creditors. This is a crucial element of true resource sovereignty. The world is unfortunately full of examples of resource-rich nations that are paradoxically poor because of crushing debt taken on to exploit those very resources. Tanzania is actively writing a new narrative. The Nyanzaga project is being built not on a foundation of burdensome loans, but on a foundation of smart, sustainable partnership and national self-reliance. It is a model that demonstrates fiscal responsibility and a long-term vision. This is not just about building a mine, it's about building a solvent, independent and prosperous nation that is the master of its own economic house, free from the chains of external debt. The domestic leadership of the Nyanzaga project is revolutionary. This isn't managed from London, Perth or Toronto. The headquarters are in Tanzania, with an increasingly Tanzanian leadership team. The nation is cultivating its own talent, from geologists to project managers. This is a deliberate strategy of capacity building, creating a new generation of mining professionals. This is an investment in human capital. This model serves as a blueprint for other African nations. Tanzania is providing a real-world case study. This transfer of knowledge is the project's most valuable output. It is creating a legacy of empowerment. The numbers behind the Nyanzaga Gold Mine are the fuel for a national transformation. Over its initial lifespan, the mine is projected to produce an average of 235,000 ounces of gold each year. This is a world-class asset, set to become one of the largest gold producers in the entire region. The total mineral reserve promises a long and prosperous future. This provides a stable source of national income, allowing the government to fund infrastructure projects and invest in social programs. This can be used to build the foundations of a more prosperous and equitable Tanzania. This represents hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year. Now Tanzania is a shareholder, an owner, a partner in profit, turning gold from the ground into progress for the people. It confirms that Tanzania is a major player in the gold industry, as a serious operator and owner. A new era of African resource management has truly begun. The impact of the Nyanzaga mine extends far beyond the gold it produces. It is a powerful engine for job creation, a source of livelihood for thousands of Tanzanians. During the construction phase alone, the project is expected to create over 1,000 direct jobs. This is an immediate injection of opportunity into the Sengerema district and the surrounding regions, providing skilled and unskilled workers with stable employment and income. These are not just jobs. They are opportunities to learn new skills in construction, engineering and logistics, building a local workforce that will be an asset to the nation for years to come. Once the mine is operational, it will sustain hundreds of long-term, high-quality jobs for at least a decade. These roles will be for geologists, metallurgists, heavy equipment operators, environmental scientists, and managers. A key part of Tanzania's strategy is to prioritize the hiring and training of its own citizens for these skilled positions. This is a deliberate move to build local capacity and reduce reliance on expatriate labor. It ensures that the knowledge and expertise gained from running a world-class mine remain within the country, creating a new generation of Tanzanian mining leaders who can drive the industry forward. The ripple effect of this employment is immense. For every direct job created at the mine, it is estimated that several more indirect jobs are generated in the local community. These are the jobs in the supply chain, the local farmers providing food for the canteen, the transportation companies moving goods and people, the entrepreneurs opening guest houses, shops, and service businesses to cater to the growing local economy. This is how wealth is truly built from the ground up. The mine becomes the heart, pumping economic lifeblood through the veins of the entire region, creating a vibrant ecosystem of prosperity that touches thousands of families. This focus on local employment and community benefit is a core part of what makes the Nyanzaga model different. It is a conscious rejection of the enclave system, where a mine operates as an isolated island of wealth. Instead, the project is designed to be deeply integrated with the local economy, sharing its benefits as widely as possible. The job numbers are not just statistics. They represent families with better nutrition, children with access to better education, and communities with the resources to build a brighter future for themselves. This is the human dividend of Tanzania's golden revolution, and its value is, honestly, immeasurable. The economic impact of the Nyanzaga Gold Mine will reverberate all the way to the nation's gross domestic product, or GDP. The hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue, the direct share of profits, and the substantial tax payments will provide a significant and sustained boost to Tanzania's national income. This is not just a drop in the ocean, it is a major new contributor to the country's economic growth. In a world where nations are constantly striving for economic stability and expansion, Nyanzaga provides a powerful, homegrown engine to help drive Tanzania forward on its development journey. This injection of wealth into the national budget has transformative potential. It gives the government greater fiscal space to invest in critical national priorities without taking on more debt. Imagine what this means: more funding for universal healthcare, expanded access to quality education, the construction of modern roads and railways to connect the country, and investments in energy infrastructure to power homes and industries. The profits from Nyanzaga can be directly channeled into these nation-building projects, creating a virtuous cycle where mineral wealth is used to improve the lives and productivity of all citizens. Furthermore, the project strengthens Tanzania's foreign exchange reserves. Gold is a globally traded commodity priced in US dollars. By producing and selling its own gold, the nation earns hard currency, which is essential for international trade and for maintaining the stability of the Tanzanian shilling. This reduces the country's vulnerability to external economic shocks and enhances its financial sovereignty. A strong foreign reserve position allows a nation to trade from a position of strength and confidence on the global stage, further cementing its economic independence and resilience against outside pressures. Ultimately, the numbers tell a clear and powerful story. From the ounces of gold and the number of jobs created to the direct impact on the national GDP, the Nyanzaga project is a game-changer for Tanzania's economy. It is a practical demonstration of how a sovereign-led approach to resource management can generate immense and widespread value. The wealth from beneath the soil is being systematically converted into tangible progress on the surface. This is the new equation for African development, and Tanzania, through careful planning and bold execution, is providing the world with a masterclass in how to solve it. Tanzania is rewriting the rules of resource development. No longer waiting for foreign investors to dictate terms, the government is now a proactive partner, not just a regulator. Sweeping legislative reforms have made state ownership the new standard, ensuring Tanzanians benefit directly from their mineral wealth. The Nyanzaga project is the first major test of this bold approach. This isn't about hostility, it's about balance, confidence, and national control. Tanzania now offers partnership, not dependency, to the world. The strategy is patient, built on years of groundwork and a clear vision for long-term prosperity. Nyanzaga is proof. an African nation can move beyond dependency and chart its own path to prosperity. Tanzania has shifted from passive landlord to active business partner. By taking a significant stake in Nyanzaga, the government now has a real voice in decisions and shares in both risks and rewards. This partnership model aligns the interests of the nation and investors, fostering trust and transparency. The days of watching from the sidelines are over. Tanzania is now an architect of its own economic future. Profits from state ownership are reinvested directly into schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. The wealth of Tanzanian resources is finally building Tanzanian progress. This is the tangible result of reclaiming agency and turning mineral ownership into national development. True sovereignty means building local expertise, not just owning resources. Tanzania's strategy invests in training and promoting its citizens at every level of the mining sector. Nyanzaga's agreements include mentorships, scholarships, and vocational training for Tanzanians. The goal, within a generation, Tanzanians will run their own mines. This investment in people breaks the cycle of dependency on foreign expertise. A skilled workforce becomes a national asset, fueling future projects and even supporting other African nations. Knowledge outlasts gold. By empowering its people, Tanzania secures lasting benefits from its resources. The nation's greatest wealth is its talent and ingenuity. Tanzania's strategy is part of a continent-wide movement, echoed in the Sahel. Leaders like Captain Traoré in Burkina Faso are demanding that gold and other resources serve their own people first. The shift is from exporting raw materials to building local industries and capturing more value. Both Tanzania and Burkina Faso are rejecting dependency and embracing sovereignty. This new Pan-Africanism is practical. One nation's success inspires another's. Different tactics, same goal. African resources building African futures. The echo between East and West Africa is growing louder, signaling a united push to rewrite the continent's economic destiny. Resource sovereignty is spreading across Africa, from gold to lithium to uranium. Mali, Niger, and others are renegotiating contracts and demanding fairer terms for their strategic minerals. The question is simple: how can resource-rich nations remain poor? The answer lies in changing the old, lopsided deals. Tanzania's model provides a blueprint for others, strengthening the continent's negotiating power. This is Pan-Africanism in action: shared interests, collective strength, and a unified message. The era of exploitation is over. The Tanzanian approach proves that stability and sovereignty can attract investment. As more nations adopt this mindset, Africa's wealth finally begins to serve Africa. The vision is no longer scattered. It's a continent-wide strategy for a new future. Africa is entering the resource reclaiming era, a wave of sovereign ambition sweeping the continent. From Niger's uranium to Mali's lithium and Burkina Faso's gold, nations are rewriting contracts and reclaiming control. Leaders are architects of a new economic order, using Africa's mineral wealth as leverage on the global stage. Each success sets a new benchmark, challenging the old extractive model. Tanzania's Nyanzaga project is proof that this vision is profitable and sustainable. The movement replaces dependency with agency and inspires a new generation to build their own future. This is a quiet revolution, fought with policies, not weapons. At last, Africa's wealth is beginning to serve its people. The logic driving this resource reclaiming era is simple. He who controls the resources controls the future. For centuries, Africa's future has been shaped by external forces because control of its resources was ceded to others. The new generation of African leaders understands this. The logic is that a nation's mineral wealth should be a catalyst for broad-based industrialization, not just a source of cash. Control also means environmental and social sovereignty. In an increasingly unstable world, control over strategic resources is a critical component of national security. Tanzania, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are reclaiming their sovereignty. The bold moves in Tanzania and across the Sahel are causing a stir in financial capitals like London and New York. For decades, Africa was seen as a high-risk frontier where deals favored foreign corporations. This is now being challenged, and the market is paying attention. Investors are watching the Nyanzaga project with apprehension. Some see resource nationalism as a threat, while others see opportunity. Tanzania's partnership approach could be a blueprint for sustainable investment. The narrative is shifting from African dependency to African agency. The world is being compelled to see Africa as a continent taking control of its economic narrative. Global markets now face a new calculus for investing in Africa. The primary risk is the political risk of failing to adapt to sovereign demands. Companies refusing to offer equity or invest locally will be shut out. This new environment presents a reward for those embracing partnership. The reward is long-term stability and reduced political risk. Companies can secure a stronger investment by aligning with the host nation. A smart investment includes a state equity stake and local employment. Long-term profitability links to tangible benefits for the host nation. The game has changed permanently. The companies that thrive will replace extraction with collaboration. The greatest resource is the trust and partnership of the people who own it. Tanzania's Nyanzaga model has the potential to ignite a sovereign fire across the African continent. The future of African mining is being rewritten as Nationalization 2.0. This smarter, hybrid approach champions state ownership while leveraging private partners' expertise. Governments will demand to be equity partners, setting a new standard for negotiations. The future will be defined by joint ventures, ensuring decisions are made with national interest at heart. This shift will lead to greater Pan-African collaboration, reducing reliance on Western capital. The wealth of Africa will fuel its own development, rebalancing global economic power. The spark from Nyanzaga lights the path toward a self-sufficient and prosperous continent. The future of African mining lies in moving up the value chain. For too long, the continent has been a simple extractor. The real wealth is created in the processing and refining stages, which have historically taken place outside of Africa. The future is about owning the entire process. This will spark a push towards developing local refining capacity, capturing immense value and creating skilled jobs. This drive for local value addition will extend to all of Africa's critical minerals, translating control over raw materials into industrial power. This vision of a fully integrated African mining industry, from mine to market, is the ultimate goal. It will turn African nations from passive suppliers into active industrial powers. Could the immense wealth of the land finally meet the hands of the people? For too long, the answer has been a painful no. The continent's mineral riches have felt like a distant mirage, a source of prosperity for far-off nations, while leaving the communities with little more than dust and broken promises. But the Nyanzaga Gold Mine offers a different answer. It suggests that yes, the promise of the soil can finally be fulfilled through strategy, ownership, and an unshakable belief in self-reliance. It builds a direct pipeline between the gold in the ground and the future of its citizens. The success of the Nyanzaga mine will be measured by the number of lives it improves. The hope ignited by this project spreads far beyond Tanzania. The riches of the earth can become a blessing of unparalleled opportunity for the people who call that land home. In the final analysis, the story of the Nyanzaga Gold Mine is more than a story about gold. It is more than a story about Tanzania. It is the story of a blueprint being drawn up for the Africa we were always promised. An Africa that is strong, independent, and the primary architect of its own destiny. This project, with its core principles of sovereign ownership, domestic leadership, and equitable partnership, serves as a powerful and practical guide for the entire continent. It proves that the path to economic liberation does not lie in dependency, but in the bold, confident stewardship of one's own resources. It is a model for turning potential into power. They once dug for others. For centuries, the sweat of African miners enriched distant empires and foreign corporations, building cities and funding industries thousands of miles away. The hands that toiled in the earth were disconnected from the wealth they unearthed, a fundamental injustice that defined the colonial and neo-colonial eras. That long, painful chapter is now coming to a close. A new era is dawning, one defined by a simple, revolutionary act. The people are now digging for themselves. The purpose of the work has changed. The destination of the wealth has changed. The future itself has changed. Tanzania holds the gold, and in doing so, it holds its future. The control of this strategic asset gives the nation the power to plan, to build, and to dream on its own terms. It is a tangible assertion of sovereignty that echoes across the continent, inspiring others to take charge of their own legacies. This is not just a mining project. It is a declaration of independence for the 21st century, written not on paper, but forged in the heart of the earth and realized through the will of the people. It is the beginning of a great rebalancing, where the scales of history are finally tipping in Africa's favor. This is the new reality. It is the story of a continent rising, not with borrowed strength, but with the power that has always been there, buried just beneath the surface. It is a story of reclaiming, rebuilding, and realizing a future that was once just a distant hope. The revolution is quiet but profound, and its impact will be felt for generations to come. This is Insight Africa, where the wealth of the land finally and irrevocably meets the hands of the people.